Welcome everyone to the Side Draft Podcast. We're here to review the Xfinity Series race from the Monster Mile himself, Dover. So it was an elimination race for the Xfinity Series, and we had a bit of a tight battle between Cindric and Chastain and Tift all the way throughout the race, and it was really interesting.
Yes, it was a really tough battle, and they kept with their position, which how many points ahead or behind. There's a lot of figuring all day.
So Daniel Hemric would win the pole, showed some speed very early on. Christopher Bell outside pole, but Bell would take the lead on the restart, and it seemed like the outside on the restarts just weren't that good, and the inside could just cruise right on by the leader.
Yeah, usually at most tracks, go the high side. It usually takes off a little better, but for some reason, Dover the low side did.
3 cars, Shane Lee would kiss the wall, and that's something you would see at Dover. Normally in the past, there's just a lot of cars hitting the wall, and the tight turns that they have there. So
Miles, he just reach out there and grab you.
Miles just gives you a little kiss, He loves his cars. We had Hemric and Bell race for the lead, and I wrote in my notes Hamrick for some reason. Hammock, I guess. But Daniel Hemric versus Christopher Bell for the lead. Looked like Hemric was a little bit faster, but Bell just had the advantage with the clean air, and eventually Bell would lead, take off once again, and Hemric would be a close second. And playoff battle for 8th with the 22, the 4, and the 19 is all battling close quarters, and that's something I didn't mention before. Brandon Jones was a contender at the start of this race, but we saw him fall back later on. Christopher Bell would win stage 1, Hemric would be second, Allgaier third. Brandon Jones, he's trying to win the race to get in, and we have Spencer Gallagher in 5th, who's been really showing some speed so far at Dover.
Yeah, that car's really picking up some speed here lately, so good for that team.
Stage 2, Daniel Hemric would win the race off pit road, and a terrible stop for Christopher Bell lost a few spots. Brandon Jones, though, uncontrolled tire, and that would basically be the end of his playoff hopes, because it's just a short race, hard to climb back up there, especially in these cars, and a lot of competitive cars up front, and just couldn't make his way back. And Allgaier would beat Hemric on the restart. We saw that once again. The inside just taking off, and the outside just never getting their good run. And Allgaier would pull away. Then Hemric said he thinks he had a second gear issue. Might play a key factor later on, but he would eventually catch Allgaier down to take the lead with 15 to go. And Chastain was only 2 points out after stage 2. Meanwhile, Daniel Hemric would win stage 2 with Bell in 2nd, Allgaier in 3rd. 4th would be Gallagher, and 5th would be Cole Custer. And the way the playoffs would be after stage 2 would be Cindric in P6. Then Chastain in 10th, and Brandon Jones clawed his way back up to 15th. So Cindric was doing what he needed to get those playoff points or stage points, and
it seemed like he had a top 10 car most of the day, and he stayed in the top 10. And he just he stayed anywhere from probably 6th on 10th, and he just kind of cruised around there all day.
And we had another bad stop for the 20 in stage 3, and that's something I think that if that team can fix the pit stops, I think that team will be 100% going on in the playoffs. Daniel Hemric would win the race off pit road. Gallagher would be in 2nd. Something you don't want to do is you don't want to speed on pit road, and Daniel Hemric unfortunately did that, and his race would practically be over at that point.
Yeah, especially starting stage 3, it's really hard to come back from that. If you did like stage 1, then you may have a chance to get back. But
something you need to tell the pit crew. If you're going to mess up in stage 1, please. Don't mess me up in stage 3 and I have to claw my way back. And
that's the money stop.
Yeah, pretty much. We see a lot of playoff teams just crumble under the pressure, especially like the top dog teams. They haven't been performing that well, and we've been seeing a lot of the, not necessarily the bad teams, but kind of like the in-between teams have been taking advantage of that. And we would see Gallagher on the restart. He would take the first position, and that's really big for him. He battled top 5 all day, and here he is leading the thing. But Cole Custer would soon take the lead with only 100 to go, which in the Xfinity Series, that seems like an eternity at that point.
Yeah.
3 points would only separate Cindric and Chastain, and we would see Matt Tifft come into the picture as well. He will drop out of the playoffs, so it's like a 3-man battle right now. It's kind of like what we saw in the Cup Series at the Roval last few laps, and we got to see it again in the Xfinity Series, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, everybody's fighting for position, and they're really racing hard.
And Christopher Bell would just make quick work of the 0-0 of Cole Custer. That team's just been on rails when it comes to speed. Like I said, if he would have been able to make some good pit stops, there would have been no stopping him. No one would ever take the lead from him ever again. So I think that's the only thing they need to work on right now. But caution would be out for the 45 of Josh Bilicki. He would blow a tire and go into the wall, and NASCAR decided that was worthy of a caution. And Brandon Jones would win the race off pit road for a 2-tire stop. So at that point, they're trying to throw a Hail Mary at that point. So they just, they want to see if that works.
Yeah, they had to try something. Just go for
it. And Christopher Bell will be in second. Chastain would be speeding off pit road. Looks like his playoff hopes are likely done. But it seems like a lot of the backmarker teams just let him through. All the lap car teams just let him through, and he got back to his position very quickly for that. Which then he would catch up to his playoff contender, his playoff competitor, Matt Tifft, and he would get into the back of him, and that would send Briscoe in the wall after Tifft makes contact with him. And another rough day for the 60 team, and a rough day for the Roval winner, Chase Briscoe.
Yeah, that 60 car is kind of cursed a little bit, but I believe it did finish the race this time. But it seemed like the Chastain just bumped the 2 car of Matt Tifft and just sent him right up into the 60. The 60 was just in a bad position at that point, but like I said, it's all fighting for position and really battling it out back here.
We'd have an intense battle for the playoffs. Would it be Chastain and would it be Cindric? Would it be Tifft? And it looked to be like Chastain was going to make it, but Tifft was able to crawl his way back and get into the playoffs, and that would eliminate Ross Chastain after that Vegas win, after getting the 42 car, after all the drama that happened at Darlington to the victory at Vegas. We eventually saw the watermelon shatter onto the ground. The playoffs are over for Ross Chastain, as well as Ryan Truex, Ryan Reed, and Brandon Jones. So it hasn't been good for the Ryans so far in Xfinity Series racing.
Not too well.
So we eliminate those 4, and next we go to Kansas. Who do you see claiming Kansas? And I believe this goes, whoever wins Kansas, if they're in the playoffs, they're going to Homestead.
Yeah, because it is a. So I believe I'm going to go with the Penske driver, 22 of Austin Cindric. I think he's going to be pretty good there. I think he'll pull off a win.
I'm going to go with the 20 of Christopher Bell. He's just been on a roll. He broke the record for most wins by a rookie, and it looks to be like he will extend that lead at Kansas. So right now, who do you think will be the final 4 that we'll see at Homestead? Early predictions.
Definitely it'll probably be Christopher Bell, Daniel Hemrick, Justin Allgaier, and I want to say Austin Cindric be in that group.
We'll go with Bell, Hemrick, and Allgaier, and then I'm going to switch out for Cole Custer being the 4th car. I've seen a lot of speed out of him, and I think he'll make a good run for Homestead. And remember, from what we saw at Homestead last year, Cole Custer was really good there, and if he can make his way there, he will be really good. So that was our Xfinity Series review. Let us know what you thought of the race. Was it a great race? Was it, just a decent race? Or, what was your thoughts? And we'll see you next time for the Kansas review.